So moving on to the second session will be of the Mass Communication and Extension Department. We have Ms. Aditi Naik, Consumer and Market Insight leads the Walt Disney Company, Singapore. She'll be interviewed by Ms. Shlesha Salvi, Mass Communication and Extension Department alumnus, and also visiting faculty at Sir Vithaldas Thackersey College of Home Science Autonomous. I request you to start the session.
Thank you very much, Niriksha. Hello, one and all present here. I, Shlesha Patil, a proud alumnus of Mass Communication and Extension Department, welcomes you to get an insight about this wonderful department, which has been so close to our hearts. Okay, for the people who are not from this department, to tell you about this department in a nutshell is next to impossible. So, as it offers a wide range of media skills, technical know-how, then hands-on experience, understanding humanity at a society level, the list is endless. And the subjects that this department offers are like fundamentals of communication, media study, photojournalism, content development for broadcast media. These are like just few that I'm naming here. So in short, this department not only creates efficient media professionals, but also focuses on development mechanisms for changing the mind and action of people to attain community development. So I'll not take much of everybody's time, and without any further ado, let's welcome our esteemed alumni, Miss Aditi Guha. She is Consumer and Market Insights Lead at Walt Disney Company, Singapore. Not to forget, she began her journey to becoming a successful professional from SVT College and from our very own Mass Communication and Extension Department. So let us hear her journey and experience from being a sincere student to be a wonderful wife, an ardent mother, a lovely daughter, and most important, a dedicated professional. So hi, Aditi, how are you doing?
Thank you so much for that lovely welcome. I'm so nostalgic today. I can see so many of my teachers on screen, and it's just been great. The past hour has been wonderful. So I just want to say that we all started. I started at SVT in 1995 as a 15-year-old straight out of school, and of course, my journey for the next 5 years was the most incredible journey. I spent most of my teenage years on college campus. I think the stairs were like our place to sit, as have been for most other girls who've been on that same journey. And just to share, we start off as really, straight from a nest, and SVT kind of preps you for the wide world ahead. And a lot of times when you're on that journey, you don't you don't realize what you're going through. It's only now, like 20 years later, that you recognize why you did all those little courses, when you were or you had to work across varied things, including the foundation courses, including every little aspect of your own core specialization. So that's something that I want every student listening today to recognize, that everything you do is going to come use and is going to be part of your life and be useful at some point in time. It may not be today as a 17-18-year-old, but when we connect when you're 40 and I'm probably much older, that's when you'll recognize that the importance of why you went through that journey. Well, back to Shlesha's question, if I may.
Yes.
um, yes,
So
Shlesha.
the first question that I want to ask you is that how did you go about from an SVTN to becoming a consumer and market insight leads in Walt Disney?
Okay, so I started off, at the communication and extension education department, and as soon as we graduated, well, similar to what Dr. Zaveri mentioned earlier, I went I went to contract advertising for my for my internship, and I extended my internship because I had no plans to do a master at that point in time, and I worked in the advertising industry. I quite enjoyed what I was doing, which was very much in the space of brand strategy, and trying to understand how brands become more consumer centric and consumer focused, and how advertising plays a role in that. My extended internship actually gave me a kind of a very in-depth view of understanding the world of advertising, the world of the consumer, and messaging to them, through it all. And taking that forward, I guess I went out and I did my master's at the Symbiosis Institute of Mass Communication. I did a 2-year program there, specializing in marketing and advertising communications. And post that, I have been part of like the media industry for the past 18 years now. um, to share some of my experiences have been at broadcast houses like Star News. I started off my broadcast experience there, moved on to MTV and VH1, and also looking into setting up when colors was just a thought in some people's minds. That's when we were kind of planning how to go ahead and make that vision a reality. um, for the past 11 years, I've worked at the Walt Disney Company. I joined them in India as leading their kids channels strategy as well as consumer insights team. And at the present, I lead a team of some very exciting people bringing the vision of the consumer to life. So it's all about Disney Plus for us right now. So that's the team I lead. It's all about getting consumers to enjoy our product, to enjoy the content on the service, etc. It's been an interesting journey, and it's had its fair share of ups and downs, but it's been great fun. Yeah.
So that means that you have had a great experience with the media industry. So I just want to ask you that do you feel that our college prepared you for the workforce and the real world?
Yes, I must say that our college, had a huge like role to play in terms of the foundation, right? So I think the type of courses that are offered from the extension side, as varied as photography to, to extension to, when you actually do like multiple sides of the coin, right? So as a consumer insights professional or a consumer as a media professional, you specialize in a particular field, but it's very important for us to work as a team. And that's where SVT has a role to play, because you kind of understand, or you've had an initiation into what each team member does, so you know what their job role entails, right? So you know what a sound engineer does, or you know what the kind of trouble a producer is going through when they're producing something. So it's a great way of you being able to understand and also experience those little parts, because you know at this onset you won't know what you want to do, but it just gives you that exposure, to that multifaceted exposure, helps you to make a decision that goes up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to say.
Okay, so that's what I can also understand, because when we were in college, we used to have these different subjects and we used to always be like, why do we have to do this? Why do we, when I don't want to have a career in advertising, why am I doing this? But I realized that, in later stages, when we actually get into the industry, all those things, all those subjects helped us somewhere. And, in at least not maybe not 100%, but at least 20% somewhere, that knowledge has always helped us. So, I mean, if I could tell you that, if you had to go back in time and, which part of your college days do you think you would love to relive?
I think I relive my college days very often. Some of my dearest friends are my college friends. I have some of them cheerleading me today even. And we are across so many different time zones, but we try and over the past year we have done so many Zoom calls, and it's hard sometimes because there are 4 or 5 time zones, across the world. But we try and do that too. And in terms of memories, I think something that the college gave us was lots of little things, right? So the other day, a really simple memory was I saw someone's Insta post on Manchurian rice, and that was one of our favorite things to eat at the SVT canteen. So even that brought up brought up a memory, I would say. And many of, I think most of the things that we kind of remember from our college days are to do with our teachers pushing us to do things that probably we didn't know we had talents for, right? So they pushed us into our uncomfortable zones at those point in times, to take a chance, okay, to take that leap of faith, whether it was prepping and presenting a seminar, like I mentioned to you, Shlesha, when we spoke yesterday.
Yes.
My topic was the Kargil war and the media coverage around it. It was not a very happy topic, but I think yesterday when I was thinking about it, I said, wow, that was such a honest experience of my first ever seminar, where we wrote with OHP markers on these sheets. That it was a pre-computer age, so to say. I can see Dr. Swati kind of shaking her head. Yes, it was a different phase, right? It was all about Xerox machines and and photocopying and OHP markers and printing what we wanted to say. So it was a different phase, but I think the storytelling aspect of it, which is so important in the world of today, communication is the basis of everything we do. And I think our teachers kind of instill that in us in so many different ways, right? It's an important part of your daily life, how you behave with your close loved ones, how you kind of connect with people at work, whether senior or junior, or your peer set. And I think that whole, the pushing us to do something that we were uncomfortable with is something I will always thank all my teachers for. Dr. Chande, Dr. Jennifer Alexander, they've retired today. Dr. Kamini Pradhan, she's such a, I mean, they've taken different roles in our lives, from being mentors to friends to, us having had very chats with them. So I think it's to do with the connect, and to do with identifying things that we as 18, 19-year-olds can't identify in ourselves, right?
Yes, I can understand that. So I have just one more question. That is like given a chance, would you recommend our department students to intern or pursue a career with your organization or any other organization? I mean, and if yes, then what do you think, that what quality do our students have that you would strongly recommend them?
Yeah. So I think the Walt Disney Company today is one of the largest media organizations. We go ahead and buy everything that we can't own. So at that point in time, so we've bought like Star India a couple of years ago. What I would just say as an organization or anybody wanting to pick up a career is, it is an open field. We are happy to have you on board. There are various aspects of it, right? So you've got to make that decision in terms of, and I would recommend everybody in the world of mass media to kind of think about um, today, but also think about 20 years later, when you're like a parent, when you have aging parents, when you have a family to look after. Think about your career even from that space, right? So there are certain careers that you can probably pick up, and I think it's so beautiful because you can actually, I think, you can actually build your career as you go along, right? So all your experience is valuable. So if in the initial stages, if something like creating movies is something that's really, or you want to be a producer on set, that is something that as a young individual just straight out of SVT, you must take up, because that's a time consuming, so you have to learn how to balance what you want in terms of your work experience and what you want to put back into it, and balance your life and your, I think it's so important, because work is a part of our lives and a very integral part of our lives today. But what we need to remember, that work is not everything. You have to balance your world, which is that of your loved ones, and that is such an important part as well of your world, because you know companies today, or organizations today, including my own, don't think twice before they strike off your name off the roles. But it's you as a person who can build that journey for yourself, is what I would say. And my organization would be definitely welcoming to all of you. I think the breadth of information that, or the breadth of experience that you bring to the table, both practical as well as theoretical, just helps to add value. And having been from SVT and been through this department myself, yeah, there's a credibility that brings to the table, right? So that's all I'm going to say in terms of why, yes, I will have people from SVT on my team when I can.
Yes, thank you very much. I would also like students from mass communication department, if you have any questions to ask, you will get your answers from Aditi, Miss Aditi, who's been so experienced in this field. So, if you have any questions, just put in the chat box. Actually, I have one question from Niyati. She's asking that mass communication has such a vast scope in regards to career options. Were you confused what to do and select as a career, and how did you make the choice?
Um, so Niyati, that's a very good question, and I just want to kind of, I think some of it mentioned earlier, but I want you to think about yourself today and think about 3 or 4 things you like, right? The opportunity of doing an internship is the easiest way for you to experiment without thinking, beyond, in terms of what you would like to do or what you think you would like to do, right? Practically it might not really fit your skill set from a future perspective. So personally, I just want to share that I started with my first internship was in advertising. Then I also tried my hand at working in video production, which I figured really soon was not my cup of tea. And then I worked in a career in media planning as well. Eventually I landed up about 5 years later, I would say, in a field that I actually enjoyed and loved, and I'm still part of 15 years later. So there's no harm in, every experience that you take along the way, along your journey, it becomes part of you. So there's no harm in trying, or, trying your kind of hand, or putting your hand in different pies, because it's all part of the wider communication world, and it's always going to be part of you. So it's about balancing it out. It's about using it as a means, as a springboard to your next step, right? It's a stepping stone. So that's my view on it, and I don't think there's a one size fits all for everyone. You have to build your own journey.
Aditi, if I ask you, when did you pass out? Which year?
The year 2000. Yeah.
Okay, so it's almost about 10 years,
No,
right?
uh,
20 years.
20, 20
Sorry,
years.
2 decades.
Yes.
So, have you looked at what the department is offering now?
Yes. So I think sometime last year, I looked through what the department is offering now in terms of certain coursework and everything to do with it.
Hmm,
There are a lot of areas that are being covered even today,
hmm,
and they're pretty much because media as a field has actually kind of reached it. After the digital revolution, we've all moved in a very different direction. So it's especially, and over the last 12 months with COVID and everything, we've seen it pivot into this whole world of Zoom calls is also a means of communication. So I start there, versus the way that consumers consume content today, right? Whether it's via an OTT platform like a Hotstar in India, or Disney Plus in many other parts of the world, just to mention our own products. I do think that the department offers a very, very wide variety of courses that could help you choose and make that choice. There are certain tweaks which I think I've already mentioned a few things to Vipra ma'am in the past. So I think we'll work on those a little more to make it a lot more proactive, or I would say not proactive, but I would say um, real world ready, which would help,
Basically my question only relates to that if you look at what you learned when 2 decades back and what we are offering today, and if you can give your inputs from the real world as to which are the verticals which need to be strengthened and which are the verticals which can be like kind of be replaced by something which is more valued today. And I'm looking at it from the professional opportunities and visibility perspective. So I think
yes.
those are the inputs which the department would really look for. And maybe I'm sure you'll be in touch with Vipra and Shlesha and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
thank
I thank you so much, Aditi, for answering ma'am's question, because we really are, in the process of evolving ourselves.
Yeah.
But you're talking about real world and how, not only the training and the subjects that need to be provided by the department, and the change has to happen, but also I want you to, highlight a few competencies or the skill sets that the girls need to have to be ready for profession. Many a times I personally feel that most of the students desire to be doing a lot of interesting things, but sometimes they get so much into their comfort zones that it is, there is a real difference between what you imagine and what the reality is. So why don't you, can you please highlight something on what is it that they need to always remember if they are looking at a career, a flourishing career or a competitive career in this field?
Yeah. So I think one of the things that all of us know about careers is that, well, the glamour that is associated with the world of media, right? Today, it's 1% of what your day job is. The rest of it comes from a lot of passion and, to do with what you want to what you want to bring to the table. So there are a couple of things that, I would say are must do's or must haves today. A few things include, being, of course, there are the softer skills like empathy and, managing teams and working with people, etc. But I think there are a few things that, would kind of set you apart from the rest. One of them being just a whole good set of integrity and the whole sense of empowerment. And these two things are something that's, given to you on a plate at SVT. Integrity is something that comes with just delivering things on time. People trust you with what you kind of bring to the table, and the fact that you meet simple things like deadlines, etc. There are there are a lot of other competencies. I think simple things on the communication side of things, whether you are technology friendly today, whether you are marketing friendly today. I think there are a couple of things that, as a communication professional, you have to be coachable as well. So there are, you I think, a few things that, which probably I would kind of recap on are, just be open to, people telling you what they want you to do, and try your hand, do your best. But it's not always going to be the right thing to do. It's there are some things that you have to balance out. So you've got to take that, you have to be ready in the whole world of course there are lots of technical skills, like, simple things like making a good presentation, which is telling a visual story, or, even creating your own brand, whether it is in terms of, what you bring to the table, your professional skills, as well as, just expressing yourselves. There are a few things that stand out when, when we interview people or when we have new people on board, which are all to do with a lot of, like, because technical skills come to you even, you can learn them even on the job, because a lot of things in our world are very much like, they're very specific. So in Disney, for example, as an organization, we operate in a very different level. So when you come, we'd like people to be just coachable, just open to learn new ways of being, to so I think the basic skill set bring to the table is very, very, very simple and very easy things, right? So they are, of course, express, just speaking your mind, being open to being coachable. So, when your teachers or when anyone who's managing you gives you feedback, just be open and, try and work around things. And also be, I think it's really, the world needs to know, what you bring to the table. It's very important for you to express yourselves. I know it's outside of our natural zone in many cases, but that's something we definitely need to bring to the table, right? You have to bring your, it's a personal brand building, as I call it, right? So that's as simple as in simple words as I can put it. If anybody wants to reach out to me, please let Vipram or Shlesha know, and just reach out to me anytime. Yeah.
Yes, actually, there is one question. A student is asking, Sarah is asking, and she wants to know that if we want to jump from, one career, or two fields, between two fields, like if she's taking marketing, suppose, and if she wants to jump to filmmaking, is it difficult, or is it hard to change the field during, when they are working or something like that, or is it like they can do
So
the shift easily?
yeah, so I would say that in the world of media, it's really easy to move fields. A lot of people have, depending upon, because the world is also changing quite rapidly, right? So if you're in filmmaking today, if it's a technical skill set that is required, then you need to build that technical skill set, right? So if you want to be a producer or a director, also there is a technical skill set required. So if it requires a technical skill set, you might need to start from the bottom, or maybe somewhere midway. But if it is not a technical skill set requirement, then a lot of your experiences can definitely be transferred from one area to the other. And you shouldn't, I think, as a person who is wanting to get into that field, it's what you um, I would say it's what you bring to the table. It's your confidence levels. If you want to do it, nothing can stop you from doing it, I would say. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Aditi. I think I just have a last question now from our end, and that is like one piece of advice that you would like to give to our students.
I would just like all of you girls to think about one thing, which is, think about yourself first. I think all of us have so many roles to play as we get into the world of work, as we have our own families, as we become moms, as our parents get older, etc. I'd love for all of you to build yourselves, take care of yourselves. We've got this whole amazing set of like, I think our foundational course is amazing to tell you all the little things you need to. So first, take care of yourself. And if you take care of yourself mentally, physically, never feel guilty about anything. That is another piece of advice that I would like all of you to, don't say I took a break from work. You were doing something more important, right? When you had a baby, or there was someone who else who needed your help. So it's always, you're always on a journey, and work is a part of it. So I would like all of you to keep remembering that, and be positive, be just forward thinking. There's nothing holding us back, right? There's nothing holding us back. It's just our point of view. You just have to change the angle, and it becomes a positive point of view, right? So
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Aditi, for taking out time from your busy schedule, and not to forget from a different time zone altogether, and to come and share your experience with us. And it has truly enlightened our students. And I'm sure that the students will be inspired to become a star alumni like you are. And for the students who are there, please see the screen share that is done. That's the careers that offers mass communication and extension offers. So please see that it has different careers like films, television, radio, then program officer, community development officer, project in charge in the department of corporate or social responsibility, sound engineer and dubbing designer, event manager, public relation officer, production house as assistant director, script writer, cinematographer, then photojournalist, journalist, and graphic designer. So there is a lot of, the plate is like a whole plate of careers that you have. So thank you so much, Aditi, for joining us and giving us your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I'd just like to thank all of you for everything. I mean, it's great. Like whenever I come back to SVT and in so many little different forms, it's always amazing and very very nostalgic. I have SVT a lot to thank for. You know,
Sorry, I must also thank you, Aditi. You've never said no to whenever SVT has come forward for any request or anything. I must say that you have never said no. Thank you so much for that. I know you have
thank you
your
so much.
work and family to look after, but I really appreciate your forthcoming nature. Thanks a lot. And we'll connect after this as well.
Let's give Aditi a virtual clap.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye.
Over to you, Niriksha.
Thank you so much, Aditi ma'am, for giving us such a great insight. And also thank you, Shlesha ma'am, for asking those valuable questions.